All right, welcome everybody to my Periscope. My name is Cody Sperber. I am the CEO of Clever Investor. In case you guys don't know me, we're a real estate investing education company here in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. And we teach good people like you how to take your businesses to the next level and really put in the right systems, the right processes into your real estate investing business to create a business that actually is fun to operate and that makes you a lot of money and can help you do things like, live the lifestyle that you want, retire the way that you want, pay off debt, all the good stuff that comes along with making big money. And I don't know any other way to do it other than real estate investing as fast as you can in real estate investing. So we've been talking for about a month and a half ago, prior to me getting hurt. We were kind of on a roll, and we were going through the 6 different stages of being a real estate investor. Now, if you guys haven't watched those videos, they are live on YouTube, free for you to go and watch. So go to my YouTube channel at Clever Investor. And the title of the video is How to Make $1 Million in 2016. The first one is all about stage number 1, okay? Stage number 1 is all about setting up your business the right way. Now, as a new real estate investor, it can be a little daunting trying to figure out how to set your business up the right way. And we go over all kinds of great stuff with the setup. We talk about the basic business systems that you're going to need. What phone system should you use? How do you set your email up? How do you get your websites up and running? How to actually structure the corporation itself. We talked about treating it like an S Corp. Okay, your LLC treated as an S Corp for tax purposes. We dove into all kinds of good stuff about picking the market and targeting a market. All right, that is live on YouTube. It's How to Make $1 Million 2016, stage 1 basic business setup or something like that. Then we started diving into lead generation, which is stage number 2. Now, with lead generation, it's kind of hard to do it all in one fell swoop, especially something like one video on Periscope or something like that. But we talked about the free ways to generate leads. And there's one of the biggest myths, okay? We conquered a lot of myths in stage number 1, by the way. One of the biggest myths is that you need money to be a successful real estate investor. Ladies and gentlemen, I started with nothing. I know tons of students that started with very little money. Okay, I started with negative money. I was in debt up to my eyeballs. I had about $30,000 to $40,000 in credit card debt. Okay, you can make a fortune. I've done it. I know a lot of people who have done it with very little resources. If you have heart, you have that hustler's mindset, that entrepreneur's mindset. Hold on one second. If you have that entrepreneur's mindset, you're willing to put in the time to learn a skill set and go out there and build the right relationships, okay? So you don't need a lot of money, and there's a lot of free ways to generate leads. And we talked about classified site strategies. We talked about driving for dollar strategies. We went into how to create bird dogs, how to work with real estate agents. We talked about co-wholesaling, door knocking, all kinds of really good stuff when it comes to free lead generation. And then we talked about some of my favorite paid lead gen strategies. Pay-per-click, bandit signs, direct mail. We went through some direct mail pieces and we started talking about all that good stuff when it comes to paid advertising. I talked a little bit about radio, TV, and print. That's kind of for the big boys when you got a big budget later on down the road. But my favorite being direct mail, and we really dove into what makes a good direct mail piece, what's the right direct mail list, how do you put it all together. That is also on YouTube on How to Make $1 Million in 2016 lead generation, all right? So go watch that training video. Today I want to transition. Now you're generating leads, right? Whether it's paid or free, or maybe some of these creative ways like going to the foreclosure auctions or whatever you're doing, HUDHomestore.com. And now you're starting to get leads. Now, lead gen is probably the most challenging thing, but once you crack the code on it, your whole business is going to start taking off. Now it's just a factor of how fast and how efficiently you can process those leads. For me, when I first started, okay, this was Cody Sperber, 11.5+ years ago. I looked like I was 10 years old. I was mortified to get in front of people. I had no clue what to say. I was like a baby giraffe. I couldn't even walk, couldn't put on my pants. I had no idea what I was doing. Do you think I wanted to get out and do face-to-face type stuff? No, I wanted to hide behind a phone and a computer. I mean, I was mortified to get out there in person, all right? It's overwhelming, it's crazy when you're brand new. Now look at me, 11 and a half years later, put me in front of anybody, I'm closing the deal and I'm getting paid, all right? So you can learn, I promise you, this is a skill set that you can learn, and I wanna go through the entire psychological process that you have to, and you will want to, put people through when you first start talking to them. Now, I gotta make a confession. This has taken me over a decade to put together in a systematic format that good people like you can actually get a hold of, go ahead and deploy it, and even make it better than what I'm giving it to you as. Because you guys have your own unique styles. You guys have something special inside of you that brought you to this Periscope right now, and that's having you watch this video. You guys can make what I'm giving you better. Just like I took from Lyle and my mentor, what he was given to me, the skills and the resources that he was given to me, and I made them better, okay? That's the name of the game. Take it and make it better. Make it your own. Add to it. And then, once you become super successful, hopefully I see you back around on the other side when you're at the tippy top and you're killing it and you're making lots of money. I hope that you reach your hand down and help the next person up. That's what it's all about, all right? You got to be helping each other, all right? So today we're going to start talking about stage number 3, okay? Stage number 3 is all about processing of leads. Stage number 4 we'll talk about later, and that's property acquisition. That's when we're comping properties and we're actually, past this initial processing stage. Now it's time to, start making offers. Stage 5 is all about deal strategy and funding and financing. Some business models, like rehabbing, take financing. You got to get money somewhere. It could be other people's money, but you got to get money somewhere. Some, like wholesaling, don't require any cash out of pocket or very little, just enough to put an earnest deposit down. All right, stage number 6 is all about deal completion. All right, so those are all 6 stages. Let's zero in on stage number 3. You guys ready? You guys want to do this with me? And this doesn't matter. You can apply this to anything. The techniques I'm going to teach you is going to help you no matter what business model you're in, because this is really about people. It's really about building rapport. It's really about sales and conversion. And it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur and you run a landscaping business, or you're a real estate investor like me and you're trying to get motivated sellers to say yes, okay? It doesn't matter, all right? And this is really all about empowering people, okay? When you empower somebody to make a decision by giving them the information they need at the time they need it in a manner that's digestible to them, beautiful things can happen. Now, empowering people, influencing people, this is different than manipulation. I don't like the word manipulation. I think bad salespeople, people that are weak-minded, weak-spirited, they try to manipulate people. They live in this scarcity mindset. They're all about just putting the hammer down and trying to take and get a quick sale and then retreating away from the customer. I think that's the absolute worst way to do it. If you're around people that use manipulation tactics and stuff like that, you got to distance yourself from them, because there is a right way to make a sale that the customer's going to love. They're going to be thanking you from the bottom of their heart for finding you and working with you. Okay? I'm telling you, there is a massive difference between influencing somebody positively and manipulation. Okay? It's all how you use the skill sets that I'm about to teach you. Okay? Like Jason says, it's about ethics, right? It's about integrity. All right? You either have it or you don't have it. All right. So check this out. Empowering is getting other people to take the action that you want them to take and they themselves want to take. I'll say that again. It's empowering people is different than manipulation. Empowering is getting somebody else to take the action that you want them to take and they themselves want to take. So it's going to work like this, all right? We've all been influenced before. I promise you that. Think of, if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. And think back when you were a kid. How many times did you get your parents to do what you wanted them to do simply by being relentless, saying something over and over? Please, please, please buy me this. Please, I really need this. Please, I really need this. Over and over and over, right? You've been influenced, okay? And there's a lot of different influence tools out there. For instance, let's say I'm wearing a lab coat. I am a doctor. You have cancer. You show up. I'm talking to you about different things that we can do to help you throughout this process of trying to cure your cancer. Whether or not you know, without a shadow of a doubt, that what I'm saying is a fact, you're believing it simply because of this effect of a person of authority has on somebody else, okay? So if a person of authority comes in and they're authentic and they look the part and they sound like they know what they're doing and they're in a position of authority, a lot of times somebody else just naturally goes along with whatever they say. I did this when I was brand new in real estate investing, and I knocked on the attorney's door and I said, hey, I want to get into wholesaling. And they said, wholesaling is illegal. And I said, what? I've been reading books. I've been getting all gassed up. I'm ready to go out and crush this wholesale business. What do you mean it's illegal? Well, a person of authority was telling me this, and I'm thinking to myself, I am absolutely screwed. All my plans, all my hopes, all my dreams, everything crushed in a second. What I didn't realize is that they were wrong, massively wrong, and I went to the next attorney and they told me, oh, that guy's a bozo. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just in the box of traditional thinking, and it's absolutely possible to do everything that you're trying to do and more. So sometimes being a person of authority is a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. A lot of times, another psychological tool people use is like when you ask somebody for a favor. A lot of times when you're asking somebody for a favor, if you give a really good explanation, they'll go along with the favor. But if I come to you and I say, hey, I want to cut in line in front of you, and you go, for what? I've been waiting in line for an hour, and I say, I don't really have a good reason. What's the chances you're going to let me cut in line? Not very good. But if I come to you and I say, hey, I want to cut in line in front of you, my mom absolutely loves this concert. She's paraplegic. She's in a wheelchair. She's really hurting, but she really wanted to come to this thing. Is there any way I can cut in line and just buy my ticket real quick so I could get back to taking care of my mom, make her happy today? You're probably going to be like, absolutely, let's do this. All right? So there are certain psychological tools that we're going to use at certain times in the right way. Now, there are two types of responses that a lot of people use. There's automatic responses, okay, and there's controlled responses. An automatic response is when you dumb down your decision to just a single motivating factor. Let's go back to the person of authority. Somebody with authority tells me what to do, and they're a position of authority. I'm going to resort in my brain to an automatic response mechanism, which is a very prehistoric part of my brain, and just go, okay, I'll do that, right? That's an automatic response of a person versus a controlled response, and that's pretty much where they're utilizing a lot of different decision-making factors to make a decision. Now let's pull this into real estate. If I'm talking with the motivated seller and they're solely focused on price, price is the only thing that matters. They are using an automatic response mechanism part of their brain. We have to go into our tool belt and pull out different tools to be able to get them out of the automatic response mechanism part over into the controlled response world. These are all psychological things happen to people. And we do this by building rapport. We do this by overcoming objections. We do this by answering the right questions in the right way. Body language, positioning, tonality, pacing, leading, all kinds of good stuff that get people through this process of moving out from automatic to controlled. You guys following with what I'm saying so far? Okay? And our job as real estate investors is to positively influence people and pull them over into this controlled world. We're going to lead them through what's called motivational interviewing. Okay? That's the key. That's the key. And think about this. This is one more tool I want you to think about, okay, along the way. How many times have you made a commitment to whatever, maybe a commitment to doing something, losing weight, helping a buddy move, going a certain place even though you really didn't want to. Once you made that commitment, it was really hard to back out, right? It was really hard to back out. There's a couple of psychologists. They did this study. They were Knox and Dingster, and they did this study, and they basically went to a racetrack, and they surveyed a bunch of people that were about to make a bet. And they said, how confident are you that your horse is going to win? Well, before they made the bet, all of them were pretty they weren't really confident, right? They were pretty much just hoping that the horse was going to win. They came back around after these people made their bets, and they asked them again how confident they were in their horse winning, and all of a sudden their confidence level shot through the roof. And it was a very weird psychological phenomenon that happens when people make a commitment. They start believing, okay, whether true or not, they start believing their commitment is going to come true, or they're going to follow through with their commitment, because deep inside they don't want to break integrity, or they don't want to break social norms, okay? So it was the same horse, the same racetrack, everything was the same, but something psychological was happening. So if I'm talking to a motivated seller, or a cash buyer, or anybody I want to do business with, and I'm constantly getting them to do micro commitments along the way, okay? I already did it with you guys a couple times. I asked you multiple times so far, are you guys tracking what I'm saying? Do you guys understand what I'm talking about right now? And people are going, yes, 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 yes. Well, I am psychologically conditioning you to say yes to me, right? You're going to want to do these micro commitments all along the way when we're having these conversations with people, okay? It's the power of commitment, and you want to be able to master this, okay? All right. Everybody tracking so far? Say yes. There you go. All right. You guys are on point. You guys are following along. Good. All right. So here we go. So, sneaky. So here we go. There's a couple of major challenges that most new investors face. First and foremost, whenever they talk to a motivated seller, they spew out benefits way too fast, way too early. You never want to be that guy that goes too fast and ends in a hurry. You know what I'm saying, ladies? You don't want to be that guy, guys. I think y'all know what I'm talking about there. You don't want to be that guy, okay? That's a major problem that a lot of new real estate investors face. They just start spewing out benefits, and they're just trying to rush to the deal. They start talking about price way too early. They never modify their pitch, ever, right? We're all different. There's different learning styles. There are different personality types. If I'm a fast talker, and you're a good old boy, am I going to drive you nuts if I'm like, rah, 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 rah? Yeah, if I don't modify my pitch, you're going to get super annoyed at a certain point in time. You're not going to want to do business with me. You have to modify your pitch. Another major issue that new investors face is they don't bring the seller into the decision-making process, into what we call the solution creation process. By not bringing them in to the decision-making and solution-making process, and we just start telling them what they need to do, what they need to know, how they need to act and feel, it's not really real to them. Okay, we're not interviewing them to the place where they say, yes, I want to do a deal. We're basically manipulating them to doing a deal. We don't want to do that. We don't want them to end the deal with regret. Okay? All right. A lot of times new investors, they don't have a strategy for actually closing the sale. They don't really realize the power of just at a certain point shutting up and reaching out your hand and saying, do we have a deal? Boom. All right, we got a deal. Excellent. All right, you got to have that strategy for putting your hand out and closing the sale. And most importantly, they don't focus on building rapport. Okay, you have to realize that rapport building techniques is not a cheesy thing that we do. Okay, it's a process that we are continuously doing all the time, in all ways, always. Okay, in other words, so you want to make sure that we're constantly building rapport. So we set up everything the right way. We generated leads. The phone rings, right? And there's only two ways motivated sellers contact you. They either go to your website and submit out a form with their information, or they pick up the phone and they call you. All right? If they pick up the phone and they call you, you have to be ready and prepared to take that call. Now, here is, you guys, anybody else talking about random things, please just stop doing that for a minute, if you will, and let's just stay focused on what we're talking about, okay? There's a lot of good educators out there. All right. So when the phone rings and we start, and we pick up that phone, I recommend that you don't do it, okay, while you're at the grocery store, while you're in line at the bank, while you got your kids in the car, okay? Get to a quiet place and take that call. Now, it's okay to answer the phone and say, hey, Cody buys houses. This is Cody, what's going on? Yeah, hi, I'm calling you from one of your postcards or your online ads or whatever. Oh, great, wonderful. Listen, what's your name? Hey, listen, I'm going to get to a quiet place. I'm going to call you right back. Okay? Get their information, hang up the phone, regroup, get your scripts, get all ready and prepared, go to a quiet place and take that call. Okay? Because I promise you, especially if you're brand new, you're going to fumble the call and sound like not like you want. Okay? So make sure that you're in a quiet place. That's one of my #1 recommendations. So, all right. So there are 6 stages. You're going to want to write these down of this first phone call. All right? Even if it goes to voicemail when you call them back, there are 6 stages that we're going to take a motivated seller through on this first phone call. This first phone call is your most important phone call. It's going to set the stage all the way for the rest of the transaction. And if you do this first phone call right, you're going to kill it and get the deal and make a lot of money. You're going to sound professional. You're going to sound authentic. You're going to sound like an expert, and that they're going to naturally gravitate over towards you because you're going to crush this first phone call. Okay? All right. So let's go through some of the 6 main goals. All right. So these kind of stages, they kind of happen in order, but it doesn't really have to happen in order. And first and foremost, professionals read scripts. Okay, I have a script that I read on that first phone call. I've gotten so good at reading the script that I no longer need to physically have the paper, but it was modeled out. Scripts make professionals sound better. Okay, scripts make professionals sound better. All right? And the goal with the script is to not sound like you're reading a script. The script is like a motivated seller inbound phone script. My students have access to this kind of stuff. If you're not one of my students, you should be. And if you're not, that's okay. You eventually will be. And we're going to sit down and write your own script. That's what you're going to want to do, okay? So when you read a script, you don't want to sound like you're reading a script. If you sound like you're reading a script, you need to stand in front of a mirror, read the script 1,000 times till you get to a point where you're actually sounding good. And the key is anticipation. You need to be able to anticipate where that conversation is going to go and realize that every conversation is a little bit different. It's okay if the seller kind of goes off in this direction. You kind of know how to pull them back in and where to pick back up on the script. All right? All right? And scripts establish the fact that you're trustworthy and that you care about them. That's the other reason you want a script. So here's the 6 goals. I guess we'll call them stages or steps of this first phone call. #1 is build rapport. Build rapport. What does building rapport mean to you guys? What does building rapport mean to you guys? Would building rapport mean like, oh, you have a dog, I have a dog, let's talk about dogs for 10 minutes? I like what I'm seeing there. Connecting with them, building trust, building a relationship, creating a friendship. Yes, okay? There is a cheeseball way of building rapport, okay? And there's a strategic way that professionals do it that doesn't sound like the cheeseball way, all right? So it's gonna kind of work like this. If I show up at your house, okay, I've already had some conversations with you on the phone. If I show up at your house and you have dogs and kids and all that stuff, of course I'm gonna relate to you by talking about dogs and kids and all this other stuff. But there are better rapport building techniques, such as taking the time to, and this is probably the #1 rapport building technique out there, taking the time to disclose information about yourself, okay? I did it with you guys at the beginning of this call, by the way. We talked about, I got to make a confession, Okay, remember how I said that? That was strategic. I did that on purpose because I want to build rapport with you guys. That's one of the best rapport building techniques. If I say, hey, listen, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I got to make a confession to you. I've been in a situation very similar to yours, and we had these issues, and we worked through them, and once I realized I was able to come out the other end, blah, 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 okay? These are all rapport building techniques, all right? So number one is rapport. Number two is you want to uncover the seller's why. And we're going to dive into this, by the way, here in a second. Number two is uncovering why. Why do you want to sell, Mr. or Mrs. Seller? We call these hot buttons, okay? Hot buttons are really reasons why they're even on the phone with you. Okay, why are they on the phone with you? There's a reason, right? There's a lot of reasons people want to sell. They're motivated sellers because of death or a divorce or lost a job or facing foreclosure, financial pain, housing pain. There's all 50 million reasons why life happens to people and they want to sell. Okay, that's what makes residential real estate investing so sexy, fun, and exciting is the fact that there's always somebody out there that wants to sell. And you just need to be the guy or girl that when they raise their hand and say they want to sell, they think of you and they come to you. All right? And they come to you. All right, what about gathering information? All right, so we're going to build rapport, we're going to uncover their why, we're going to gather information. That's three. So if rapport is an ongoing thing, meaning it's not just a one-hit wonder where we show up, oh, you got dogs, I got dogs, I love dogs, you love dogs, great, we built rapport. Rapport is something just through our conversations, our tonality, our personality, our questions we ask, how we relate to them, okay? That's rapport's ongoing. Uncovering their why can be done through specific questions that we're gonna ask them, okay? And if you ask them about 3 or 4 questions, you're gonna uncover their why almost every time. And if they don't wanna tell you, we have strategies to be able to overcome those objections and get them to talk about their why. Gathering information is all the property data. And you don't need a lot. Here's the most beautiful thing. Most of this stuff is public records. So I don't need to spend 20 minutes with you talking about what's the square footage of your house? What year was it built? Who built your house? You know, I don't need to know that stuff. I mean, yeah, great. If you tell me, I ask the question and you tell me, great. But if you don't know it, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, can you go look that up for me real quick? Right? You just have to move through it very, very quickly. So by the time I get to that stage where I'm gathering data, I'm going to ask a series of like 4 questions, maybe 5, and then I'm going to move on to something else. Because nobody likes getting asked 50 million questions in a row, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, stop asking me questions. We're not really building rapport. We're not really moving forward. I don't have the answers to a lot of stuff, especially if it's personal stuff like, how much is your mortgage? Right? That's like the worst question to ask somebody. How much is your mortgage? Can you give me all your personal financial data? Right? They're not going to want to give you that stuff. All right? So after we gather property information, and we're going to go through this here a little bit more in depth here in a minute, you want to be able to establish price. Okay? Establish price is number 4. Establish price, okay? You want to be able to ask the right questions in the right format. How much, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know, if I made you an all-cash offer, and obviously there's a lot of benefits of working with me, I'm going to pay all the closing costs and take care of, you know, all the shenanigans that go along with selling your house. If I was able to write you a check here today, what's the absolute lowest you'd be willing to accept? Right? There's certain ways we can ask that question at the right time. If you do that too early, okay, in the conversation, you're going to fail. They're going to say something like, just make me an offer, right? So you gotta work your way into it at the right time. So establishing price the right way is important. If they can meet you out at the property, right? There's really 2 situations you might find yourself in. Situation 1 is they live out of state. The property is a rental property, or it's vacant or something, an old house they used to live in, and if they live out of state, they're not going to be able to like meet you over at the property, so you're going to have to do the rest of the transaction on the phone, okay? But if they live in state, you can actually set an appointment to go out there and meet them in person. Either way, you want to see the property, okay? Especially unless you're doing this virtually, and then you don't have to see the property, but if you're local and the property investing that you're doing is local, you're going to want to set an appointment next, all right? So that's step number 5, set an appointment. If I could spell. Step number 5 is set an appointment, okay? And we're going to go through when and how you actually do that. All right, this last step is something that's kind of like rapport. You're going to do this throughout the conversation. All right, step number 6 is what we call setting up your higher authority. When you set up your higher authority, all right, you never want to be the end-all be-all decision maker. Maybe you are, but you don't want to be. Okay, so setting up your higher authority is really, really important in a negotiation. It allows you to say things without putting your back in a corner. All right, you could say things like take it or leave it. You could say things like that's the most I can offer you. What do you want to do? Okay, but if you position correctly by saying things like, you know what, I really like you. I really want to make this work. We just got to get my business partner on board with our plan. Is there any other information that you could give me so I could go back to him and see if I can get him to come up in price? By constantly positioning the business partner or my higher authority as the main decision maker, then all of a sudden I have the ability to be, I guess what you would call, I don't even want to go there. It gives you the ability to transition over to the right side of the table where you're sitting next to the seller instead of on the opposite side of the table. Does that make sense? All right, so 6 is set up higher authority. All right? You guys with me so far? Guys want me to keep going? All right, so I'm going to give you a couple more tools, all right? So there are 3 major principles when talking on the phone. Those 3 principles are using the right tonality, okay, pacing and leading, and inferring body language. Yes, inferring body language on the phone is super important. That's just because they can't see you, they're visualizing what you look like and what you're talking about, even though you're on the phone. So let me ask you guys, what is tonality? What is tonality? Pitch, okay? Your voice. Good stuff, yep. How you project your voice, tonality, okay? If I walk into a room, or let's just keep it in the context of being on the phone. If I'm on the phone and I'm like, oh my God, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're not gonna believe this. This is so great. I got the best news for you. That's a pretty excited tonality, right? My pitch goes up. I get louder, okay? That's tonality used in a certain way. If I kind of lean in and I say, John, I got to make a confession. And it's not really something I'm really proud about, but when I was younger, okay, that's a different type of tonality. That's almost like I'm telling you a secret, okay? So using tonality in the right way is super, super important because it infers emotion. Okay, and when you infer emotion, people take that ride because if you're just doing a single tonality, you become like the teacher on Ferris Bueller, anyone, right? It gets really annoying. Okay, pacing and leading is another strategy that people use on the phone. So number one, be aware of your tonality at all times. If you realize that you're just doing excitement or you're just doing really slow, kind of match what the seller is doing, but then mix it up every once in a while, especially if you're about to say something that's really important. The power of a pause is super huge. And if you do it in the right way, you can get the deal. Okay? Be aware of this stuff. All right. Now let's move past tonality. Let's go to pacing and leading. Pacing simply means, excuse me, I'm getting over bronchitis. Pacing simply means using truisms, okay? Somebody asked, why not just be genuine? What does that mean, just be genuine? Why would you not be genuine? You should always be genuine, okay? You should always be genuine. Just because you have skill doesn't mean you're not genuine, right? Because I promise you this, winging it is not a strategy. Winging it is for losers and bozos and people who don't understand what the hell they're doing and doesn't want to become successful and doesn't want to actually master their craft. Okay, so don't think for 1 second you have to be a salesman or a saleswoman. Every single person watching this video is a salesman or saleswoman. You don't have to be that for a professional, as a profession. You just have to act like one and know where you're going with the conversation. You need to have tools. Okay, you have to. I'm telling you, because I'm going to come right behind you. I'm going to take the deal. I promise you every single time. So, get your shit together and become great at what you do and practice your craft at all times. And I regress. I'm back. All right, so pacing is using a truism. So it's basically saying something like, Mr. Seller, I can tell that you're really savvy and that you've done your homework and that you know exactly what you want for the property. Am I right? Okay, that's a truism, right? The seller's not going to argue with me. They're not going to say, no, that's not true. That's like one of the easiest things to do. So if they agree with what I'm saying, do I get a yes psychologically out of them? Yes. Okay? So, John, I can tell that you're a savvy seller. You've taken the time to do your research and you know exactly what you want to do here. Am I right? Yes. I can also tell that if you solve your housing problem here today, it's probably going to make your wife really happy. Am I right? Yes. Okay, so I just did a pace. Now I'm going to lead. So this concept of pace, lead, pace, lead, pace, lead can be done in a rhythmic fashion to where me and you, we start getting in a groove, right? And as we start getting in this groove and we start vibing together, psychologically, we're kind of like a bunch of women, right? All hanging out for long periods of time, and all of a sudden, something starts happening naturally, all on the same process, right? It's the same flow. Is that the right word? Maybe the same flow? I don't know what the right word is, and I hope you guys are reading between the lines, but you guys start to get it. We're starting to vibe together, right? We're dancing. We're feeling good. We're becoming one, right? That was like the worst example. God, video guy, scratch that from the video, please. Thank you. All right, moving on. So, but we want to pace, lead. Pace, lead. Pace, lead. So when we're talking to them, it's like, I can tell that this is blah, 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 truism, yes. And I can also tell that blah, 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 truism, yeah. Now imagine when, right, we're going to future cast. That's the lead. We're going to future cast, okay, where we're going to take them. Imagine when we work out a deal here today and I get you a price that you're super happy with. Imagine how good it's going to feel tonight laying down in bed, realizing for the first time in a long time, you have solved this major issue that's been causing you stress. It's going to feel pretty good, right? Yes. Okay? So it's like a pace, a lead, a pace, a lead. And then all of a sudden, as we're getting into this rhythmic fashion, we're actually building rapport along the way. All right? So just be aware that this stuff exists. Last tool I want to give you before we dive into the technical stuff is your body language. If you're on the phone, right, you're at your desk, your arms are crossed, your head's kind of down, you're basically unresourceful, right? This is the unresourceful position. And you're talking, yeah, how much do you want to sell for? Why are you selling? What's your mortgage? How much do you owe? How much equity do you have, right? This is like the worst example ever, but you get what I'm saying, right? You're kind of like this. They're going to feel that on the phone. They're going to understand that you're really not into what you're talking about. Stand up. Get out of your chair. Get a headset. Put your shoulders back. Smile. Talk through your teeth. Breathe. You're excited. You're there. You're their solution. You got to understand you're their freaking solution. You're what they've been waiting for. They've dealt with bozo after bozo after bozo, sending them mail and letters and knocking on their door and trying to just ramble, and they had no strategy. They were like that one guy earlier that had no strategy, and then he was like, I'm just going to show up and wing it, right? And these guys, they're clowns, and then all of a sudden you show up, and you're a professional, and you sound good, and they can feel your energy through the phone because you're kind of like just in the zone, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm here to help you. I'm here to talk to you. I'm gonna lead you through this. I got your back, right? That's all done through body language. You will not do it sitting in your desk, hunched over, trying to write little notes, okay? If you have to, record your phone calls, okay? Don't even write notes. Just jibble little things, but don't write sentences and paragraphs and stuff. Just little key reminder, bullet points, and move through the script and write on the side of the script and around, but don't write a paragraph. And don't type. Do not type, people. I can't stand when I like walk in, I smack them in the back of the head. I'm like, what are you doing typing while you're on the phone? You can't be present in a conversation if you're like, F, K, M, what did you say? Can you say that again? Right? Don't do that. It drives me nuts. Be present. Stand up. And I'm moving on. Okay? Body language is actually 55% of the way that we communicate. 55%. What we actually say is only 7%. So if 55% is body language, master your body language. Cool. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the different personality types. Psychological classifications of people. It sounds good. You need to be aware of it. Really what you need to be aware of is there's 4 main types of people out there. These 4 types of people, you just got to identify them. And you got to quickly do it. Okay? Within 5 minutes of a phone call, you should be able to identify what type of person is the person that you're talking to. Okay? If they're the 4 types are analytical, amiable, drivers, and expressive. Analytical, amiable, drivers, and expressive. Okay? Those are the 4 general personality types. Okay? Identify what you are right now. An analytical person. Okay? I'm very analytical. I'm an analytical person. Okay? Analytical people, they love facts and details. They are number crunchers. They love money. Okay? They are sticklers for timeliness. If you're late, it's going to drive them nuts. They're not big risk takers, right? They are the people that stand on the sidelines and wait for everything to line up and be perfect, and they got to know what's every part of the deal before they're ready to move forward. Okay? Engineers, right? They're analytical. Drivers, on the other hand, they're the go-getters. They're the movers and the shakers. They just want to keep the ball moving down the field. All right, don't bother me down with what is it? What's the phrase? Bog me down. Bog me down with details. I just want to get the little bits and make a decision. And don't just give me one choice. Give me multiple choices, please. Hey, boss, do you want to do A or B? B. Okay, let's go with B. Right? They're moving. Right? If you are negative around these people, they're gonna go nuts. They're gonna go nuts. Don't be negative around drivers. Okay? Amiable, they're the people that like relationships. They like to take things slow. Okay? They like to take things slow. They need support from others. They need to go and talk to their significant other, to their friends, to their counselor, to their psychologist, whoever. They need to talk to people, right? And if you don't give them the ability to go and get confirmation, you're going to lose the sale. You're going to lose the deal. So knowing that, going in, don't just say, oh, okay, I'm going to leave my offer with you. I'll come back in 3 days. It's like, no, let's get so-and-so on the phone. Let's, be out in front of it. Oh, hey, listen. You know what would be a really great idea, Steve? Why don't we get John on the phone and get his opinion on this thing? Because I think if I talk to John and explain exactly what's going on, we could probably come to a solution here today and make you feel comfortable to move forward. How's that sound? Does that sound good? Hey, grab your phone real quick. Right? Now, you get out in front of it and you start moving them in that direction, knowing that that's part of their personality type. They make very careful decisions, very slowly. Expressive, on the other hand, these people are dreamers. They're way off in the future, right? They love to plan things. They're huggers. Okay? They're huggers. They like to feel good. They like to know that you're in it to win it with them. You're a friend. They gotta feel comfortable with you. All right? Those are the 4 personality types. You guys with me so far? Good. Are you guys learning something? I hope you guys appreciate what I'm giving you here for free, because you cannot find this type of information anywhere else except for here at Clever Investor, cleverinvestor.com, where your dreams come true. All right, back. Sorry, short commercial break. All right, 2 things we're looking for. We're now transitioning into the actual technical side. So I've given you tools up to all this point, right? Tools, which, by the way, if you guys, I totally forgot to give you this. I have a free ebook if you guys want to go and grab that. That's at cleverinvestor.com/Periscope, by the way. Teaches you how to wholesale real estate for free, okay? All right, we're now moving on from talking about the psychological tools, okay, that you're going to want to use and deploy and to master, and moving into the technical side. What do we actually say? How do we actually say it, and when do we actually say it? All right, so now this is the good stuff. This is the technical side, all right? And the reason I gave you the tools is because I want to empower you to go out there and feel comfortable with this technical stuff, okay? The technical stuff is easy to remember, easy to teach, easy to learn. The psychological part is a lot more difficult, all right? So there's 2 things we're looking for in every situation. Number 1 is motivation. They have to be motivated. If they're a non-motivated seller, there is not a deal, right? Motivation equals potential deal. The other thing that we're looking for is equity, okay? Equity plus motivation equals potential deal, okay? Motivation with no equity means, where are we gonna go with these people? We gotta create equity somehow. And the only way the non-equity thing works is in a buy and hold scenario where the price point is low enough, where the rental rates are high enough, where you can turn their non-equity situation into a subject to type transaction where it's a rental property going into your portfolio. You can take over their payments and they're paying down here. You can, and this is where their mortgage is. Rental rates are up here. You can clean up the house, rent it out, and create a cash flow spread and hope that at some point in the future, either the mortgage gets paid down and equity is created that way, and or appreciation happens and equity is created that way, okay? That's the only time you could do a deal if there's no equity. Otherwise, you got to short sale it, create equity, loan mod, negotiate it, something. Or if they come into the deal with equity and motivation, you're in the game and you know that's a potential deal. So if you're talking to a seller, they have no motivation and no equity, you got to make a decision if you want to waste your time. Okay? Because remember, there's only that one scenario where it's going to actually work out. Might as well just move on and work another deal. Okay? Motivation plus equity equals potential deal. All right. So, build rapport, uncover why, gather information, establish price, set an appointment, set up higher authority. Before we begin, I want you guys all to say something, all right? Shake it out for a second. Shake it out for a second. I want you to say something right now. This is super important. We're going to get in the game. Okay, here we go. Repeat after me. I am financially independent and I don't need the money. I am financially independent and I don't need the money. I am financially independent and I don't need the money. Say it. It doesn't have to be true, but say it. Okay? You eventually will become financially independent. You won't need the money, but you got to be in that mindset because the scarcity mindset doesn't work. I am financially independent and I don't need the money. I don't need them. They need me. That's why they called. I don't need them. They need me. That's why they called. I don't need them. They need me. That's why they called me. I'm the solution. Right? I have so many leads. I have tons of leads. I can't buy all these houses. I got too many leads. I got so many leads. I can't even buy all the houses. Right? Get your head in the game. You get your head in the game. You're going to go into that conversation in a totally different mindset. I'm telling you. Stand up. Physiology. Say, I'm financially independent. I got too many leads. They need me. Okay? You got to feel that way. You say it. You speak it. It starts to become real. Okay? You speak the words that your house is built on, or in, or around. Moving on. Okay, so you guys understand the psychological setup process. All right, so now our head's in the game. It's time to move forward. How to position yourself. Number one, you got to have that higher authority. Who can be your higher authority? Think about it right now. Ready, go. Your cat, your dog, your wife, your sister, your brother, your mother. Doesn't matter. Somebody's got to be a higher authority. You got to get on the same team with them. You're not on the opposite side of the table. You're on the same side of the table. That's what's so important. You're on the same team as them. Same team, same dream. And you only do win-win deals. There's no losers in our transactions. You're going to walk away feeling just as good about doing a deal with me today as you are 5 years from now. Win-win deals. Okay? All right. So, now it's time to start moving down the pipeline. Okay? Moving down the pipeline. If you don't uncover the seller's housing pain, you don't have a deal. Okay? So remember that. Excuse me. 3 types of pain, 3 types of stress, financial pain, whatever you want to call it. Number 1 is financial stress. You're financially screwed. Okay? Number 2 is personal issues. It could be medical issues, legal troubles, we don't know, personal issues. Number 3 is damage to the home. So it's either financial stress, personal issues, damage to the home. All right? So, let's ask a question. It's time to ask some questions. We're going to motivationally interview them to the deal. So, John, let me ask you something. What's happening in your life to make you want to sell your house to me here today? So, John, let me ask you something. What's happening in your life to make you want to sell your house to me here today? So, John, let me ask you something. What's happening in your life to make you want to sell your house to me here today? Good question, right? We're uncovering why. Oh, okay. So, let me ask you this. How else did you try to solve your problem before you called me? Okay, so what else have you done or what else have you tried to be able to solve this problem before you called me? So let me ask you this. What else have you done or tried to do to solve your problem before you called me? All right? What exactly were you hoping that I can help you out with here today? What exactly were you hoping that I can help you out with here today? Right? I'm not telling John what he needs to do or what he needs to know. I'm interviewing him to the solution. Okay? So if they bring up, oh, I thought, I haven't done anything, or I thought about selling with a real estate agent or whatever. Oh, well, how's that working out for you? Right? You're just going to, whatever they say, you're just going to keep moving it forward. Keep moving it forward. They're going to talk to you. They're going to convince you why you're the best solution. I promise you if you do this right. So you don't have to go to them and say, hey, I'm the best solution. I pay cash. I close on a date of your choice. I'll buy it as is. Why would you want to pay commissions? Don't do that, right? You don't have to do all that. That's like what newbies do when they don't have any clue what they're doing. All right? Just interview them forward. Just interview them forward. All right? All right. Sorry, I was making sure you guys were back with me. It kind of jumps around a little bit. All right. So, whatever they say, tell me more about that. Intensify the pain. Tell me more about that. All right? Oh, that doesn't sound like fun. All right? Just little intensifiers. That doesn't sound like fun. Can you afford to wait any longer? Can you afford to wait any longer? God, what other options do you have? All right? We're just going to intensify the pain. Intensify the pain. All right, now it's time to move from uncovering their why to focusing in on urgency. Urgency. So, John, tell me this. Can you afford to wait 3 to 4 months before you get the cash that you need? or is this something you'd like to get handled in the next 7 to 10 days? Okay? So John, is this something that you can afford to wait 3 to 4 months like a traditional sale, or is this something where you want to get the cash in your pocket in, say, the next 7 to 10 days? Right? This is a urgency question. Urgency tells us how fast they want to move, right? So we ask them why they want to sell, and how fast do you want your money? All right, urgency. All right? Maybe even pull them forward. Hey, so what are you going to do with the money once you get it? What are you going to do with the money once you get it? It's another great question. So we're building rapport nonstop. We come in the conversation, we start talking about why you want to sell, what can I do to help you, what were you hoping that I could do for you here today, what else have you tried to do other than, call me. We're just allowing them to talk, work it out of their system, and convince you that you're the best deal for them. Then we're going to transition to gathering property information, right? Remember, just get the basics, beds, baths, whatever information they know. Tell me a little bit about the property. Focus mainly on repairs. Repairs are the #1 thing you got to focus on. Remember, if there's pain, there's a deal. Focus on the repairs. Property details, just get the basics. All right? Don't blitz them with questions. Just ask a few and then move on. All right, tell me a little bit about the repairs. Tell me, sometimes I ask something like, obviously you're not a general contractor. I totally understand. This is just an estimate. I'm not holding your feet to the fire on anything. If you were to walk around your house, what are a few things that you would like to see updated or repaired? And then they're going to start talking. Now, I'm basically giving them permission to get out, right, of pinning themselves into a corner. And I'm slowly going to work them into talking about repairs. Because if I just say, what's wrong with your house? Tell me about the repairs, they're going to sugarcoat it, right? They're going to be like, yeah, the house is pretty good. It's not bad, right? It could be the biggest crap hole on the planet, and they're going to be like, yeah, it's actually a pretty decent house, right? You want to get there very slowly so they open up. So it's kind of like, hey, listen, I know you're not a general contractor, and I'm not holding your feet to the fire on any of this stuff, but if there was a few little things that you would fix up, what are a couple of them? And then they're going to start talking. And then I can dive more. Well, what about the roof? How old's the roof? Tell me a little bit more about the kitchen. Have you ever updated the kitchen? I see here you bought the house in 1980. Has it ever been remodeled? Right? And we're just working them into talking about this stuff. Every time they give you a sugarcoat answer, you don't ever make the seller wrong. Ever, ever, ever. The seller is always right. All you say is, oh, okay. Well, tell me a little bit more about that. So the roof is brand new? Oh, no, I said it's in good shape. I didn't say it was brand new. Oh, okay, so would you say, normally roofs last, 20 years. How long have you had it? Would you say it would last like 18, 19 more years? Oh, well, I don't know about that. You'd have to look at it. Oh, okay. So we're just constantly challenging them and kind of checking them along the way. And eventually they're going to start talking. Might not be on that first phone call, but that's where we're going to spend most of our time talking about repairs. All right? So, right around this time is when you want to do the most powerful rapport building technique that I've taught you guys so far. And that is volunteering some information about yourself. Okay? So you've done some uncovering of the why and urgency. You've asked to talk for 5-10 minutes about property information and gathering information. Now it's time to just dive in and start volunteering some information about yourself. This is where we're really going to connect and build some rapport. Thank you so much, John, for sharing all that information with me. I gotta, just kind of let you know, 11 and a half years ago when I first got started as a real estate investor, I kind of fell into this business by accident. Me and my wife did, because my parents were going through a pretty rough situation and they were about to lose their home to foreclosure. And I remember the pain and the sleepless nights and the stress it caused my parents. And I remember feeling so helpless. And I just started doing research, and I tried to figure out how I can help them out, because I knew that there was a solution. And as I was doing my research, I started coming up with ways to stop their foreclosure and started coming up with ways to get them out of this housing problem. And the good news is we solved it. We were able to stop the foreclosure and save their house. And it was awesome. And it felt so good to be able to help them. And what I realized along that journey was that they're not alone. There's a lot of other people that are in their same situation. That's how we became investors. So one of my favorite things about working with great people like you, because it just feels good to work out a win-win deal that everybody can feel good about, and I know that I helped in some weird way. Right? I have my spiel down. I know where I'm going to go. I'm going to connect emotionally with them. And I'm going to say, look, don't be afraid to have this scripted out. You guys have to script this out. Okay? This is an emotional story of who you are and why do you do what you do. It's a 30-second pitch. Who are you? Why do you do it? Okay? I'm telling you, this is how the big boys and girls get the deals. Okay? Script out who you are. So right around this time, I'm coming out of property information. Now I'm going right in with who I am and how I can help. Notice how I didn't do that at the beginning. I did it right there in the middle. All right? Keep it short, keep it non-pitchy, just go in and do it. All right? Personal confessions build trust. And then from that moment on, move on, start talking about price and setting an appointment, and then every once in a while just throw in a confession. Okay? I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this, but ... 5 years ago I was in the same situation as you, or I'm not proud of this, but my business partner isn't like me and you. Right? There's a lot of little confessions that you can say that will lead right into just a quick confession, then pull back out and move on. Rapport, baby. Give them permission to never be wrong. Give them permission to feel human. All right? All right, so now it's time to establish price. You guys want to keep going? I would do anything for a bottle of water right now. Hold on. You guys want to keep going? Oh, thank God. I love these things. Have you guys had these yet? Tea of a kind? I love these things. All right. Here we go. They're so good. Tea of a kind. What clever investors drink. All right, moving on. They should send me a check for doing that. All right, moving on. You guys feeling good? Shake it out. We got to keep going. We're moving into the final stage, so let's keep it going. So now it's time to establish price. Okay? We gathered information. We slid in who we are, our confessional. Now it's time to establish price. You need to have them tell you what they need for the house. Would you guys agree that there's a difference between need and want? Okay? Would you agree that there's a difference between need and want? Hey, what do you want for the house? I want $1 million. What's the absolute lowest that you're going to need to feel comfortable signing an agreement with me here today? Big difference, right? Your language is important. Be aware of what you're saying. Okay? Ask them how they came up with that number. How did you come up with that number, right? Challenge them. Ask them how they came up with that number. I need to get your best price so I can take it to my business partner and get an approval. Okay? Setting up the higher authority. I need to take this number to my business partner so I can get final approval. Yeah, I apologize, guys. I had double hernia surgery. 3 days later, I got bronchitis, and I've been just a hot mess ever since. So if I cough throughout this, I apologize. Here's the most important thing that I can talk about: price. Don't negotiate price on this first phone call. Don't negotiate price on this first phone call. All right? Don't negotiate price on this first phone call. All right? Keep the hearts going, guys. Thank you. All right. So, we're going to ask a question. Okay? Now that you can feel all the different benefits of working with a real estate investor like me, John, let me ask you something. If I was to pay you all cash cash on your property, what's the absolute lowest that you need in order to feel comfortable, okay, in an agreement here today? Okay? Now that you can feel all the benefits of working with a real estate investor like me, John, let me ask you something. What's the absolute lowest that you're going to need in order to feel comfortable, okay, in agreement here today? Simple question. Not what do you want? How much do you want? Don't say the word much. How much do you want? Well, I want a lot. What's the absolute lowest that you're going to need to feel comfortable, to okay in agreement here today? Okay? If they hesitate, okay, if they hesitate, they're like, oh, I don't know, make me an offer or anything like that, I say, look, I can tell that you're a smart seller, John, and I can appreciate that you're a little hesitant to give me a number. That's totally normal, all right? And it's my goal to put my highest and best offer in front of you here today. And obviously nothing that we talk about is set in stone. We're just opening up a conversation. So if I was to write you an offer here today, what is the absolute lowest price I can go to my business partner with so I can get this thing done? Right? So if they hesitate, I just immediately hit them with, look, I can tell you're smart, right? Right there, compliment, boom. Listen, I can tell you're smart. And, I can appreciate that you may feel a little hesitant to want to throw out a number. And obviously nothing's set in stone here. We're just opening up a conversation. It's my goal to put my highest and best offer in front of you. Just tell me, John, what's the absolute lowest you'd be willing to take if I go and get an approval from my business partner? Just put it out there. Just check them right in their tracks. Stop them and right in their tracks and go take back control of that conversation. Because if you allow them to just make me an offer conversation, you're going to be pinning yourself into a corner. You don't want to do that. So the second they start hesitating, compliment, it kind of works like this. Compliment, compliment, body shot. Compliment, compliment, body shot. Okay? That's how that little dance works. So you're going to go, hey, so, what's the lowest you'd be willing to, what's the lowest that you need in order to feel comfortable, okay, in agreement here today? God, I don't know, Cody. I don't know. I feel like you just make me an offer, and it's like, oh, look, right? And I say like a real powerful look. Look, John, I can tell you're a smart seller, and I understand why you're a little hesitant to want to throw out a number. And nothing's set in stone. We're just opening up a conversation. It's my job to put the highest and best offer in front of you. To get your approval, but if I was to go to my business partner, just tell me what's the absolute lowest that you need in order to feel comfortable to okay an agreement, right? So I go right out in front of it, all right? As soon as they throw out a number, okay, guys, what I'm sharing with you is how deals get done. Do you guys understand that? This is how the pros close. If you don't like what I'm saying, get off the Periscope. Go away. Okay? This is how the pros close. As soon as they throw out a number, remember, we're not going to negotiate on this first call. As soon as they throw out a number, I'm going to teach you a small little tactic, okay? It's a technique that's going to make you at least an extra $2,000 in less than 1 minute. I'd say in less than 10 seconds. You guys want to know what it is? Okay? This is going to make you an extra $2,000 in under 10 seconds. It's going to go just like that. It's going to work like this. They're going to throw out a number. Oh, well, you know what, Cody? If I got $100,000, I think I'd take that. You're going to immediately, whether 100 grand is good or not, you don't even care. Yeah. No, that's not what you do. Immediately, you do this. I promise you, this is going to work. That was the worst dab on the planet, by the way. All right, so as soon as they throw out a number, this is what you're going to do. It's called the blow. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's called the blow, and this is how it works. You know, Cody, I'll take $100,000, and you're going to go, $100,000. You know, John, I mean, is this something that you would consider maybe $98,000 for? I don't know if I can get my partner to agree to that, but is this something that you're a little flexible on? 99% of the time, they're going to say, well, yeah, I'd take $98,000. Yeah, I think I would take 98. Yeah. That small price drop, that $2,000 price drop, just set the stage for the rest of the negotiations. Set the stage for the rest of the negotiations. Now you know they're motivated, they're flexible, they're realistic, they're ready to do a deal. If they say no, 100,000, not another. You have a lot more work to do. It means you got to come back in and build more rapport. Get them to trust you. They either don't like you, don't like your offer, don't like your company, don't like something. There's some obstacle in the way. You haven't gotten them there yet. And that's okay if you haven't gotten them there yet. This is the first phone call, okay? Blow harder. Yeah, don't do that. Just do a normal blow. But, you know, my mind went like 6 places right now, and I'm so glad I did not say what I was about to say. We're derailing. Just pull it back together. Pull it back together, Sperber. All right, so do the blow. Price drop them. That's just a simple price drop. And as soon as they say, yeah, okay, you set up the rest of the conversation. And if they said, no way, that means you got some more work to do. All right? That's the blow. You're welcome. Put that in your bag of tricks. All right. Now we're about to pre-close. We're about to pre-close and finish this conversation. And by the way, from the beginning of this first phone call to the end is about 15 to 20 minutes. From the beginning of this first phone call till the end is 15 to 20 minutes. That's it. If you're spending 8 minutes on the phone with the seller, you have not spent enough time with them to build rapport and get all the information you need. If you're an hour in, you're entertaining yourself. Okay? You have to be efficient with your time. We're generating a ton of leads. We got 15 to 20 minutes per lead to have one phone call to determine, do you have motivation? Do you have equity? Is there a potential deal here? Will it move to stage number 4? If you can't do that in 15 to 20 minutes, you failed miserably, right? You're either not spending enough time or you're entertaining yourself. All right. So now we got to pre-close and set the appointment. All right, we got to set the appointment. All right, so we're going to review their pain points. All right, John, listen, I appreciate you spending all this time with me, sharing all this information. I can tell how important it is for you to get X amount of money by this date in order to achieve these things. And I know your house needs some work, and you know the roof and the thing and the back and the band, boom. All right, and so, you know, I really feel strongly like we're a good fit for each other, and I'm going to be able to put an offer in front of you that just makes sense to you and that you feel good about. And I'm going to go to work right now and try and get this done right away because I know how important it is for you to get the cash in your pocket. And I'm just going to take all this information. I'm going to go to my business partner. I'm going to put it in front of them. I'm going to have a conversation. I'm going to go to bat for you. I know we were looking at a couple other houses, and I feel like we're the best fit. So I'm going to really go to bat and see if we can't get an approval on this right away. Does that sound good? Awesome. Well, listen, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to earn your business. Oh, hey, John, by the way, one last thing. I see here in my system that you have a mortgage on the property. Is that accurate? You guys see what I just did there? You guys see the most private of all information that I could have asked him, which is, do you have equity? Okay? I didn't do it in a question at the beginning of the call when I was gathering information. Instead, I Columboed him. The Columbo is the oh, by the way method. I got everything I need. Thank you, John, for spending time with me and just sharing all this information. I'm going to go to work and try and get all the best offer I can in front of you. And you know what, John? Hey, one last thing. I see here in my system that you have a mortgage on the property. Is that accurate? No, I don't have a mortgage. Oh, okay. You know, sometimes these things take a while to update. All right, cool. Thank you. So you own that free and clear. You got tons of equity. We're going to do an amazing deal. We're all going to make money. It's going to be amazing. Right? That's what he's saying, by the way. So you got to understand the right way to ask the question, because if you do it too early on, you're going to break rapport. They're going to get hesitant, right? They're going to throw up walls, throw up objections. But if you do it at the end, okay, if you do it at the end, you're going to have much more success. And if they tell you, yes, I have a mortgage, you have a choice. If the conversation was amazing, ask them the question, well, how much is your mortgage? Just estimate what your remaining balance is. Okay? That's only if the rest of the conversation was awesome. The rest of the conversation was kind of, there was a lot of hesitation, a lot of objections, and just let it lie. Oh, okay, cool, no problem. And then on call number 2 or 3, go back in there. Hey, listen, my business partner was asking about your mortgage, and then you can ask them the question later on. All right, but don't do it on that first phone call unless you've had a great conversation and they say, yeah, I have a mortgage. Oh, no, that's not accurate. I do have a mortgage. Oh, okay. It's almost like an afterthought. So do you have the estimated remaining balance on your mortgage? I just got to fill it in right here in my computer system. Right? It's just kind of like an afterthought. Does that make sense to you guys? Is that some really great information that you can actually go and deploy? Cool. All right. We've set up higher authority. We've done them all. Built rapport, uncovered why, gathered information, established price, set an appointment, set up higher authority. We've done it all. Okay? I'm going to leave you with a simple formula to help you overcome any objection, and then we're calling it a day. Okay? And a lot of you guys hung out on this scope, and I'm very proud of you for spending your holiday with me learning tactical, technical information that you can go and deploy and make money with. I'm really impressed with you guys. It's the reason that you're going to make it somewhere big in life, and it's giving you the opportunity to raise your game up to the next level and leave your competition in the dust. All right? So, this is how to handle any objection that they throw at you, right? It's a simple formula, and I'm going to leave you with this. Whatever they say, when they say no, or I'm not ready, or maybe something like, I don't want to give you that information, that's just an objection. That's good that they're doing that stuff, by the way. You want objections, because it helps them psychologically move an inch closer towards doing a deal with you. If there was no objections, you need to be like, is this a scam? Is this a weird deal? What's going on with this? I had a deal one time in California that I showed him, the guy's like, I'm ready to do a deal. And I'm like, great, I'm ready to buy. And he's like, great, I'm ready to sign. And it was so fast and so easy on this real expensive property. I walked away going, what the heck just happened? And I found out later the guy stole somebody else's identity. It wasn't even his house. He was just trying to sell somebody else's house and make a quick earnest deposit because he wanted me to pre-release the earnest deposit for him to him. And I'm like, I stepped back and I went, what just happened? Why was that so easy? Shouldn't be that easy, right? So you got to watch out for that stuff. If they're giving you objections, they're a real deal. This is a real deal. You got a potential to make a lot of money. So objections are good. So here's the formula. Every time they hit me with an objection, I do the exact same thing. Number one, excuse me. Number one, I say their name. Write this down. Number one, say their name. Number two, I agree with them. And number three, I ask a question. Say their name, agree with them, ask a focused question. Okay? So if they say something like, what's the most you're going to pay me for my house? Okay, what's the most you're going to pay me for my house? I'm going to say, well, John, that is a great question, and I completely understand why you'd want to know that information. Right? Said their name, and I agreed with them. Well, John, that is a great question. I completely understand why you'd want to know that information. And in order for me to put my highest and best offer in front of you, I'm just going to need a little bit more information. Do you mind me asking you just a few simple questions so I can get that offer ready for you? Right? Objection handled. I didn't go, yeah, I'll pay you this. Right? I maneuvered. Said his name. I agreed with him. Then I asked a focused question. In order for me to be able to put my highest and best offer in front of you. I just need to ask you a few simple questions. Is it okay if you just give me a little bit of information so I can get that offer ready for you? Boom. If they say, I don't want to tell you that information, it's private. I don't want to tell you that information, it's private. You know, just the same thing. You guys know what it is, right? Same thing. So, John, I can totally understand why you'd want to keep that information, especially personal information, private and away from strangers. You know, hopefully you realize that in order for me to be able to give you my highest and best offer, I'm going to need certain pieces of information, and whatever you're not willing to share, chances are it's public information anyway, and I could just go look it up. I just really want to be able to make this as easy as possible for you. Does this make sense to you? Okay, great. So, you know, don't you want to get the highest and best offer for your property? Yes. Okay, so and then I go right back in and ask the question again. So, hey, listen, I totally understand, John, why you want to keep certain personal information private. I'm a lot the same way. And, you know, hopefully you realize that it's my job to put my highest and best offer in front of you. And that's all I really want to do. I'm not trying to get too personal with you. Most times this is, you know, public information anyway. I can go look this stuff up. Is this making sense to you? Yes, it does. Oh, okay, yeah. Don't you want the highest and best offer? Yes, I do. Oh, okay. And then you just go right back in and ask the exact same question that he just said no to you on, or tried to throw up an objection on, and guess what? They're going to answer it. Cool? Say their name, agree with them, make them feel good like you're listening, and just ask them a question. A great question always is, don't you want me to give you my highest and best offer? Doesn't it make sense to you that I work hard to give you my highest and best offer? They're never going to say no to that. Ever, ever, ever. All right? And I'll leave you with this one. I need time to think about it. I need time to think about it. All right? I normally say something like this. Well, John, I've been doing this business for a long time now, and I know that you're simply just not going to call me back. And it has nothing to do with my offer or with me or you or our relationship. You know, despite my offer being a fair and reasonable offer, and I know how important it is for you to get rid of this property, you know, I understand that life just happens. And wouldn't you agree with me that sometimes people just get busy and they're not able to circle back around and finish things that they started? Wouldn't it just make sense for us to kind of put my offer in front of you here today so you can make a decision on it? See how I kind of did that? So it's just really important that you just kind of have this strategy. Anytime you get an objection, I don't just say, oh, okay, yeah, call me back. Oh, sounds good. I'll email you my offer and cross my fingers and hope. Right? You got to maneuver around these objections. Yeah, listen, I've been doing this for a long time, and I know that you're just not going to call me back. I just call the elephant out in the room. I know you're probably just not going to call me back. And it has nothing to do with my offer. Despite my offer being a fair offer and our relationship being good, it's just the simple fact that life happens and you're going to be busy, and sometimes you just get busy and you never finish things that you once started. And I just want to make sure while we have each other on the phone that I answer any questions and vice versa, so we can make sure that I get my highest and best offer in front of you here today. Doesn't that just make sense? Boom. Okay. Then we can move on. Guys, stage number 3. You now have a ton of tools. You're empowered. Remember at the beginning, we talked about empowered. You're empowered with the right questions. You can motivationally interview people through this process. You set it up the right way. You generate leads the right way. You process those leads the right way, and you're just going to watch your business grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and go to the next level. I didn't learn this stuff on my own. I had a lot of really great mentors and teachers and counselors and people show me these things. It takes a long time to get good at something. Give yourself permission. Okay? Give yourself permission to screw some stuff up. It's natural. We're all learning and growing every single day, and there's a lot of good people that are willing to surround you to help you get up to that next level. Every single person here at Clever Investor has your back. I promise you that. You'll never go anyplace else and get better education, or more support than at Clever Investor. I promise you that. Okay? And if this is your first time watching my YouTube or being on Periscope, I just want to say I appreciate you spending the time with me, because I know your time is valuable and I know that you have a lot of other things that you can do. But I promise you, if you take this information and take action on it, you actually deploy it, it'll change your life. It will change your life. You don't have to sit on the sidelines. Right now is the time. It's the best time, I believe, in history to be doing real estate investing. I'm making more money now than I ever have before in my entire life. And it's because now is the time. It really is. And we got to do it together, right? My students all do deals with each other. They all have a ton of fun. They all support each other. We have to do it together. All right, that's it. That's all I have for you. I appreciate you guys. This has been a long Periscope, and you guys have hung in there like champions. So next time, we'll move on from stage number 3 over to stage number 4, which is acquisition. We'll talk about comping properties and processing the deals and making the offers, okay? That comes up next. Be there, be square. Don't miss it. I'll let you guys know when I'm coming back. Until then, love you guys. Take care. This is Cody Sperber, the Clever Investor, signing off. Take care. Comb your hair.